guys, so yes, I'm very happy to be back with another video. Okay, so yes, basically, I finished uni, so I've got exams there. I've got a couple of exams in May, but you know, I've basically finished uni. I've got no lectures, so it's just revision. And I had an epiphany, guys. I was like, oh my gosh, for those of you who follow my channel, you know that like my degree, law, isn't something that I'm like extremely passionate about. And I had my last lecture, and I was like, this is the last lecture of law I ever have to study again. Like, you don't know how happy that makes me. Like, I've basically been carrying this ball and chain of law around for like the last 4 years, because I know there's a lot of subscribers who are new to my channel, so hello to all of you guys. And I think a lot of you guys are slightly confused in a way, because you're not sure like where I am in life. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do an explanation of like my life, kind of, from secondary school to university. So literally like my journey for the last 10 years. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So I'm gonna do, this one is gonna be a secondary school video, mostly like kind of just explaining what happened, what went on, how it shaped me to be how I am, and yeah, basically, I love this song. If anyone loves Glee, thumbs up. That's what I'm gonna be listening to throughout the whole video, because I'm just in that kind of mood today. Today we are talking about my secondary school journey. No, I'm sorry, this song, right? So, year 7. I actually started secondary school late because it's like we couldn't find a secondary school around my area that was best for me. Dagenham, about 12-13 years ago, was quite a rough place in terms of like education and like safety and stuff, and it's only just started to get a lot better. So the secondary schools are a lot better than they used to be. So that took a while, but I eventually got into a school called Rayford Independent School, which is in Hornchurch, and it was a private school, and this like deserves a video of its own. Rayford was like, it was rich kids. Like, after school you would see Jeeps, you would see Mercedes, you would see like Lamborghinis, like you would be seeing those kind of cars, like parents coming in, you know, brand new cars to pick up their kids. I mean, it was expensive to take your kids there. There was cliques like actual like Gossip Girl, like it was actually Gossip Girl if you watch the show. And literally there were the pretty rich kids and the pretty rich guys and rich girls, and they all went out with each other. And I went to school with Amy Childs, who was beautiful, is beautiful, even still then, like even in year 9 the girl was stunning. So then in year 8 my parents had to take me out because they were like starting new projects of their own which required money, and they just couldn't afford to keep me on there. And you know, that was upsetting for me because I was heartbroken. Like, I was gonna leave all my friends behind, and that just sucked. And I remember for some reason I had a meeting with the deputy head of my new school, which is called Bower Park. Yeah, called Bower Park. And I had a meeting with my dad, and I went to the school and met up with the deputy head teacher. And I literally cried throughout the whole meeting. I remember going to the school and thinking, this is disgusting. What am I doing here? Like, when you go to private school, it's not that you become a snob. I think you honestly do choose whether you become a snob or not, but the school was bad. Like, Bower Park, when I joined, was a bad school. Like, it's not even just my word, like on the Ofsted report it was low, like low. I was just so overwhelmed with everything, and I just cried. And then I started year 8, and I hated it, freaking hated it. There was so much racism in that school. Like, people would spit on you, like actually spit on you. And yeah, so if for those of you who are new to my videos, when I was growing up, I grew up in a very strict kind of church, Pentecostal type church, where the rules basically were just no extensions, no makeup, no jewellery. Usually you have to wear like skirts that like are past your knees, and like way past your knees. No heels, flat shoes, no like bracelets, any kind of stuff like that. And so that made it even harder to fit in, because obviously all the black girls in school had extensions and relaxed hair, and I couldn't have that either. So obviously I just had like my natural hair. My natural hair was long anyway, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but I didn't even realise having natural hair was a big deal until kind of people told me and pointed it out to me. And yeah, I mean, around like year 8 it wasn't that bad. Year 9 got a bit more difficult because more black people were enrolling into the school for some reason. So literally like in year 7, year 8, there was like 4 or 5 black people. Literally by year 11, there was like 50. It was like 50 or 60. It was crazy. So a lot of people were just moving into Essex at that time, which is where my school was. And yes, so that was difficult. And I mean, in terms of like the, forgive my word, bitchiness and stuff, year 9, I think, to just the end of school was just like awful. It's weird because when you're away from a situation for such a long time, you forget how bad it is, and you forget like how hard it was to go through it. But literally, like, it would be the typical stuff that I'm sure quite a few of you are used to, like just like it starts subtly at first, like the bullying, like the name calling me anorexic, calling me bulimic, calling me flat-chested, dark-skinned, like that I was the darkest-skinned girl in the school, saying that I was ugly, calling me skinny, and just stuff like that, like over and over again, every day, day in, day out, knowing that does affect you. I did have a group of friends, but obviously, like, usually at that age you do have a lot of frenemies, and I think I had quite like 1 or 2 frenemies who, like, you're my friend, but at the same time you're saying stuff behind my back. So that kind of sucked. Yeah. So I'm gonna try and be more specific. So by year 9, I had a like kind of tight group of 4 or 5 friends, but they were all quite popular with most of the other black people, most of the other people in the school, whereas I wasn't really popular with the black people. I was more popular with 1 or 2 other white people, and that was kind of it. So I had my close group of friends, and I had a few white friends as well. I think black people just didn't understand me. I think they thought, oh, perfect song right now. If you guys know Raise Your Glass by Pink, just like, they just didn't get me. They didn't get why I spoke so eloquently. Obviously, 1, I'd been to a private school for 1.5 years, and 2, my parents just brought me up to enunciate well, basically to just speak proper English, and they attributed that with being white. So I was called a bounty, called a Malteser, I was called a white girl, and which was always kind of confusing to me, because that made me feel like, oh, so to be black I need to speak like I am poor, or I'm not educated, and it's almost like that's what they attributed being black with. And it's like, don't you realise you're insulting yourself? I didn't really listen to proper black music. I mean, I listen to hip-hop, I listen to R&B, but if you know me and my videos, I listen to country music, I love musicals, I listen to 80s music like punk rock, I listen to 80s rock music, so I listen to a lot of stuff that isn't typically black, if there is such a thing. So that was always difficult, so they just did not understand me. This video is going to be long, you know, I can see this being long. I'm so sorry guys, but it's going to be a long video, because I'm trying to hurry up for you guys, and it just doesn't do the story justice. So that was what was going on at the time. Year 9 was, I think, a changing point, because that's when I got to choose my GCSE options, and that meant that I was in certain classes with certain groups of people, and in a way it meant that I was exposed to a lot of people who didn't like me or understand me. And you're treated like a fool. Oh gosh, this song. Like, people like Pink, I wish that I listened to things like that when I was that age, because I was so desperate to be understood, and I was not understood. I was so invisible. Like people didn't even talk to me. Like I was very similar to how I am now in terms of my personality, but I was a lot shyer. I was a lot more shy just because I didn't think anyone was interested in anything I had to say. Just being ignored like all the time. I remember in like maths class, like everyone would be messing around and I wasn't even talking, and my teacher shouted at me and she was like, "Can you stop talking, Osa? Can you just stop talking?" And even the people around me were just like, "Well, you weren't even talking though." And my maths teacher was like, "Out of everyone in the class, you have the lowest predicted grade." Literally, she said that in front of the whole class, in front of 30 other kids. And that literally killed me. And in that moment, I was like, you know what? Thank you for saying that, because now I'm going to work hard and get one of the best grades in this class just to prove you wrong.